And to get us kicked off today, my name is Rich Akulian. I'm the online marketing producer here at Autotask. And with us today, we're lucky to have David Russell. He's the CEO of Manage to Win Incorporated. And he's got a great presentation today that's going to teach you how to make sure you bring in great quality people to your organization. So just a little bit of an agenda. We're going to give a little quick Autotask overview. And then we're going to get right into the meat, hire the best, avoid the rest. And then we're going to wrap up with Q&A. But be sure if you have any questions throughout the presentation to be putting them into the Q&A. We'll queue them up, and we'll make sure that we can try and get to as many as possible at the end. So don't be afraid to ask any questions throughout. And just tell you a little bit about what Autotask is. This is it's the world's #1 provider of cloud-based IT business management software. We've been in the cloud since 2001, and we're a piece of software that does all-in-one type business processes. So we manage your service desk, your project management, your time and expense, your billing and invoice, your services, all these types of things, and we have a great network around it. And pretty much a lot of the things that David's going to talk to you about getting the right people, we're going to help put those right people in a place to win. So with that, I'd really like to turn it over to David, who's got this great presentation for us. Hire the best, avoid the rest. And with that, welcome, David.
Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Good to be here, Rich. For those of you who don't know me, I've been in the industry 31 years of my 36 years business experience. It's funny. That's older than you, right, Rich? My business experience?
Oh, yeah, I'm 27.
Yeah.
I'll be 28 in a few months, but I've got more gray hairs than the 27-year-olds should have.
Well, it just means wisdom. That's wisdom. So, anyway, I'm glad to be here. I have hired a lot of people in my day. As a matter of fact, I'm with a client today, and I think they've got 80 resumes or something like that for one of the positions that I'm going to be working with them on hiring. I do a lot of consulting on hiring. I do not do headhunting per se, but I do have a systematic approach and help companies develop that. And we're going to do an overview of the system today. We do have the system available. We've just updated it this month. As a matter of fact, it just released it. The new system actually was just released this morning. So, but let's walk through this. This is a 10-step hiring system, and it came about back in 2002. I actually had a .com that turned into a .bomb experience, and I realized that my main problem in leadership was that I was not systematic. And so what I did was I developed a 10-step hiring system in addition to a 12-step leadership program for leaders addicted to poor management habits. And we're going to just walk through the hiring portion of today. Rich, the questions. Now, when we get questions, are you going to interrupt me with those questions, or do I need to watch for those?
If we want to take the questions at the end, that probably is the best way to do it. But if there's something that really comes up, maybe that's really pertinent to what you're talking about at the time, I'll interrupt you.
Well, you know what, yeah, let's do that, because ask questions as we go, because I'm going to go through a lot of content. I'm going to go through real fast, and so let's go ahead and allow questions as we go. I'll try to keep it within the time frame as we're cruising through anyway. So let me start by the cost of doing nothing. So hiring is too often an emotional process where we make a decision, somebody comes in, we think, well, I could work with this person. Let's just get them on board. Fills the seat, I can get back to my real work. But the problem is when we hire people who don't fit in, there's a huge cost. Now, of course, I'm giving you the highest number that I saw by a reputable company, Gallup, of 3.2 times annual compensation. But it's generally agreed that making a bad hire costs you 1 times their annual compensation. So you're hiring somebody for $50,000, $60,000. That is lost when you make a bad hire. That's lost through lost opportunity, stress on other people, recruiting costs, recruiting time, etc. We can go through it, but there is a big cost. The other thing is when you're not systematic and you draw out the hiring process. Okay, I once went for a job. As a matter of fact, that job that I took at that performance management company in 2002 that I joined, it took them a month to get me a job offer in writing after they had told me I had the job. You can't do that. You're going to lose good people. Slow ramp up. You're not ready for them when they start. If you're not systematic, it's kind of haphazard. It's who's responsible for this, who gets them the computer, who's going to do the training, how are we going to do that. And by the way, the smaller your company, the larger the risk. That doesn't mean that it's a low cost to drop 1 year's annual salary if you do a bad hire. If you're a larger company, that's still a big deal. However, you can hire somebody and make a bad hire and it can kill your company. I know one guy did a hire, did not follow my system, hired a guy. The guy worked with him for, boy, it was about 15, 16 months and created $2 million worth of debt through acquisition and other things, not running the company well. It killed his company, lost everything. You don't want to go there. Okay, by the way, I do not give legal advice. I'm going to give you some ideas of what works for me. You figure out what is legal in your state and what works for you. Quickly, what is the risk opportunity? Retention, retaining great people versus recruiting people. We want to keep our employees. 87% of employees were planning to get a new job in 2010. I saw a statistic just this week. It's only Tuesday, but just this week. I think it was 37% of employees are actively looking for a job. Now, by the way, this 87% was two numbers, one that are brushing up their resume and one that is actively looking. So that 37%, I think, is pretty consistent with the actively looking in this number. I mean, think of whether you're talking losing 9 out of 10 of your employees, 87%, or 37%, 4 out of 10. Either way, that's not where we want to go. How many people should you plan to interview to fill a position? Everybody wants to only interview one person. I shouldn't say everybody, but most everybody. I want that first person to walk through the door to be great, then I don't have to do it. I hate to tell you this, but you need to wait. You need to change those expectations. Plan to interview 25 people. It may not be full interviews. Okay, it might be phone interviews. It might be first in-person. They don't make it second round. But plan to go through about 25 people. That way, hey, if you find somebody earlier, you're still going to get yourself acclimated where you're expecting to go through 5, 10, 15 people. You need to broaden the base. It's not 1, 2, 3, or 4. You need to get more people in there. We're going to talk about a proven system. The first part is establish your foundation. I want you to commit to systematic power. I want to talk about team member strategic plans, and then how do we do recruiting. Next piece of the puzzle is, well, how do we qualify these people once we find them? That's interviewing, talent assessments, background checks, references. By the way, Rich brought up taking notes real fast. I will get a copy of this presentation out to everyone. So if you're frantically trying to take notes, I'm going to go through a lot, or trying to do screenshots because you don't want to wait till next week in the recording. As soon as Rich gets me the list of people, I will get you out this presentation. You can see we're going to do background checks, references. Then we're going to go on to how do we onboard this person? How do we make the offer? What's that first day look like? And how we never stop selling that we're a great organization. And boy, we are so glad to have you here. Let's talk about the first one, systematic power. By the way, if you haven't caught on, I'm going to talk fast. And that's because I've got a lot to cover here. If I'm talking too fast, you can ask a question, send it out to Rich, say, hey, can you get this guy to talk slow? I thought Zig Ziglar was fast, but this is way too fast. Systematic power. What I'm looking for you to do with systematic power is I want you to commit yourself to be as systematic in your hiring process as you are with implementing new technology for clients. It's very critical. We tend to be systematic in our marketing or our sales, our accounting, our technology, but not with people. And when you get down to it, we're all in the people business. People sell our solutions. People support our solutions. People collect money in our solutions. It's all about people, and our clients are people. So we need to get the right people on the bus, is what Jim Collins of Good to Great says, and that involves being systematic in the way we hire. And then you can integrate that in with like Manage to Win software, so you're tracking how you're hiring these people and how you're developing. Real important. Be systematic. I'm going to give you my 10-step system. You can go with my system, or you can go with your own, but you've got to be systematic. By the way, when I go through this as part of our Hire the Best training that we do, that's a pre-recorded video training with all of these 10 steps in 10 separate video trainings. They have homework at the end. I don't have time to put that in this session. I apologize for that, but that is available. So we've got these 3 areas we're going to be systematic with hiring. Systematic leadership does not stop with hiring. It involves being accountable. It involves how you're doing compensation, so there's fairness there, and it's motivational pay. How we recognize people, we train them, we mentor them, we do career paths. It goes through everything. How do we set goals systematically and pursue those? How do we do performance reviews and pursue those? So there's a lot of systems in this. I cover a lot of these things in my book that was just released called The Company Culture Challenge. You may want to take a glance at that.